Welcome back, Officers Republics. Your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief APGAINS. Running low on crystals from the massive horde. All Fleet Arena, first number one in Fleet Arena payouts of the 400 crystals. All of the GAC wins and losses and season enders and all that stuff for months. And we're running out of crystals. I don't know if I'm actually going to make it. I've been doing the 200s. I didn't do the 200s today. I'm only at the 100s. I'm at 150 out of 330, so about half. We have 4 days left. Yeah, a little over 4 days left. So I think I'm gonna get there. The problem is if they do another marquee after this, I might be hosed. Like, I'm not doing refreshes of like literally anything. I'm like quite literally not playing the game basically. Everything in my entire roster is going into farming the ship up. I do have plans to do a little bit more work on the actual Sith Trooper for the ship. I don't think they're going to require the actual Sith Trooper at Relics or anything like that, but I imagine that the event is going to be tuned to the point where you have to have the Sith Trooper at Relic 3 or something like that for the actual event to be feasible. You know me, if there's a requirement that's not a real requirement, we're going to keep it as low as humanly possible. We did the Executor unlock way back in the day with like no Zetas on any of the pilots and no 6-stop mods or anything like that. We did the Profundity unlock without a bunch of Zetas. We did it without the ability to get guaranteed crits on Outrider, which made it incredibly hard. So, not exactly making a ton of progression on this, but we have 4 days, and if I get desperate, as you see here, we finally got Sith Trooper up to gear 12. If we get desperate, we can maybe go up into the 200s and stuff like that. But I think with having hoarded, like 1100 prior to the event, and with doing the 200s for the first 2 days, and then the second 2 days, I've done the 100s. I think I'm gonna get there. Let's actually see. We have 100. This should be almost a 6-star unlock. I'm not 100% sure. Boom. Oh, look, it's unlocked. Woo. TIE Dagger. This should be 4 stars. And then we should easily have the 5, and then we should be halfway, give or take, approaching halfway to 6 stars. And then obviously we have 100 more after that. So 150 shards to go. Through about half the event, I have about 170 shards, which is, roughly half of the 330 that I need total. So I'll have it. The real question is, how is this going to affect the rest of my farming and stuff like that? Because this more so than I thought, wiped out my crystals. We still have a little bit left because fleet payout and GAC and the GAC end of week payout and stuff like that. So we've been kind of revitalized a little bit, which is nice. But this is really wiping out. Like, I imagine that this will be down into the like teens or 2000s or something like that by the time that I'm done farming the TIE Dagger. It's probably going to be much lower than that, actually. Let's see. Tomorrow, what's going to happen tomorrow? I'm going to get an extra 400 plus dailies. So I'll call it, I'm just going to round down for the sake of whatever. Say I have 4,500 crystals. It's going to be 150 for the 50s. So 150 plus 300. So we're going to be 450 down. So we'll be back down to 4,000. I might go into the 200s, honestly, if it's looking a little scary. That's going to be another 600, so 1,000. I'll probably sit around 2,000 or so crystals at the end of this. And that kind of means that I need to stop, using crystals on basic shit. Like, I'm doing, like, the energy here. I go boom. And then I usually do the 25 crystal refresh and then get a couple energy refreshes, a couple cantina refreshes. I'm slowing down my farm, obviously, on my Sith Fighter, but that's not the biggest deal in the world because I'm using the resources elsewhere. Actually, it's probably stupid that I'm not farming the Sith Fighter with the double drops. I've probably missed out on like 4 or 5 total Sith Fighter shards, which is a little, it's not the end of the world, but it's kind of funny, actually. I'm just grinding that one node because I have some faint memory somewhere in my mind that all of those materials are for slicing, and somehow that's going to be good for me. But yeah, a lot of my roster has been kind of taking a backseat to the just sheer amount of crystal output that this ship is going to take. I can't obviously use those crystals to, get gear and stuff like that. I'm trying to get to the point where I can equip gear 13 on all of the potential characters who are going to be required. I realize now that a lot of them aren't going to be required. Like, I favorited and geared like gear 12, like every character that I thought could possibly be required. I'm hoping these two are required at relics. I don't know why I jumped the gun on this. This is just normal CG angst where I was a little afraid. I was a little afraid that they were gonna do some funky stuff. And so I was like, I just too stressed. I can't hoard. The hoarding's getting to me. I need to relic something. So I relic these two characters. Plus, they're good characters anyway. But I want to get to the point where I can apply relics to both Sith Assassin and Maul and Sith Trooper if I need to. I'm just gonna build up their gear and kind of like let it sit there. And then if it comes out that there's an HK or a Canderous or a Karth or a Basilishan or a T3 or a Shorty or whatever, I can kind of pivot there. But I feel like I'm in a good spot mostly just because a lot of my Sith Empire are already relicked, obviously, and I think I'm just going to have to prepare for higher relics. So what I'm doing with all of my crate tokens and stuff like that is basically every chance I get, every refresh I get of the Mark IIIs. I'm actually 10 short here, which is kind of sad. I'm going into the Gynecomastia keypads. I'll probably go a little bit into the impulse detectors and stuff like that. Obviously, I have a million arrow magnifiers because I don't have any R8s or R9s because as a free, we're not wailing out on this game. It's I think you guys understand that it's kind of hard to start Relic 7, Relic 6, Relic 7, Relic 8ing random characters. I have an okay stockpile of everything else simply because I did like the mass conversion before the gear economy changes happened, and I haven't really relicked any characters since then. I mean, it's probably been like 4 to 6 months since I've like actually relicked a character. And I'm not joking. Like I quite literally think it's been months since, I mean, these two withstanding, obviously, since I've like taken a character past Relic 0. Like a lot of what I was doing for those months was going into the Resistance for my Ray farm. And I got all of these characters that I newly relicked, these 3 right here. I just got them to Relic 0. And then everything else is going into shard farming. As you see here, we finally have a 7-star Resistance Trooper, which is kind of sexy. But like I haven't really depleted that many relic materials because I haven't relicked anything. Like it's kind of funny. I'm like the anti-capital games farmer right now. Like they're pushing relic, and I'm just like, I don't really want to relic. And I think that's why the GP is very, very slowly progressing and not really quickly, is because a lot of what I'm doing is shard farming and preparing. I'm preparing like a launch point for a lot of stuff, preparing the Ray launch point, preparing for the Leviathan launch and stuff like that. So I imagine that once I need to actually deploy all of those resources, I'll jump up like 100 or 200,000 GP and stuff like that. But should be in a pretty juicy position to get Leviathan. Obviously, we're not going to get it day 1 because I'm not red boxing. I have, not nearly the shards that I should have. So I'm probably going to get this month 2. Same thing I did free-to-play Profundity month 2. I'm probably going to get Leviathan month 2, which is not the greatest thing in the world, but we might be able to still stream that event with some cheeky ways. So that should be fun. All right. As always, I love you, and I'll see you guys later.